Welcome back, friends. It's time for a match of the day. Spear Gaming versus SANDBOX about to begin. All Korean for our third matchup out of 4 for today. Playday number 3, Stage 2, 2022, APAC North. The best of all the packs. Don't tell Dev I said that, but you can actually. I got you here.
You probably just told him yourself, to be honest, Milosh.
Yeah,
There's a few people watching, you know.
What?
Yeah, we don't just do this for fun.
Oh my god. Well, Fresh, Fabian, hello. Welcome back.
Hello.
Let's have a chat about our two squads. First up, SANDBOX Gaming.
SANDBOX is a very interesting roster, and the way they're playing now, they have, me and Jack, we've been standing here and we've been saying it over and over, they have a APAC North beating roster. They have the individual talent that is necessary to beat everyone. And they also have the strategic base from, well, previous iterations of the roster that have, well, Nova's moved over to coaching now, and they have the players that's been around for a while. They have the strategical part of it, combined with, well, Harukasa and it's just like they have picked up so many new players, like, well, not new players, but both Good Boy and Harukasa just stepping in. They have so much potential. I'm excited to watch them play. They can do anything on the server that they would like, and I will still be excited watching them.
This roster, when they played the Six Invitational, obviously they had Harper and Nova on the roster at the time, and the noises coming out with that before we spoke to them at Six Invitational was, just wait 3 or 4 months. When we've got our master plan together, when Good Boy comes into this roster and we've got the 5 we want, we're going to be outstanding. And they currently have been.
There's a lot of pressure on this SANDBOX team. Honestly, probably the most under pressure outside of them on Kia.
They have probably the most to prove, right? I mean, they used to be the roster we look to as the second Korean team, and it's not been as clear in the last stage. And so far this stage, obviously, we're only Playday 3, so they haven't really proven that part for this stage either. Now it's just up to them to show us that they are that team.
Well, Spear on the other side, they're going to attempt their best today at taking them down. They took Talon, yes, you'll say, not really to the edge last week, but they did push CAG to close to OT the first game of the stage. Jack, what are your thoughts?
And these numbers aren't going to make great reading. Like, I'm not going to sit here and paint a pretty picture of this team. Is that this is a team that has been absolutely, devastated through losing 2 of its best players in this current iteration of the 5. We're expecting 11 does come back into this. And they can show good things. The roster, the core of the roster last year, beat Cyclops, beat SANDBOX, beat Fnatic, but everyone's beating Fnatic these days. So it's been a tricky one, but the one thing that they've stuck to and the one thing that they will always stick to is their identity of how they want to play. It gets a little bit crazy, it gets a little bit funky, it's enjoyable to watch, and it does, from time to time, completely upset teams. It can just be so effective on the day.
Yeah, it's just it's hard to judge this team at the moment because obviously 11 isn't playing. I think it was surgery that he was recovering from, and they're filling in with NL, their coach. So Yora's kind of done decently filling in. He's not filling in. He's now a main player, but he was a sub for Talon before. And Royboy kind of needs to step up a bit. I feel like that role that he's playing, he needs to do more. He needs to produce more. He's kind of a flex player and playing a lot of vertical, and you cannot afford your player that is kind of given a lot of freedom to move around the map as he wishes. He needs to perform, because if you don't have that player doing so, if you don't have that, what can happen on the sides?
Well, our map for the series, which one will it be? And who'll have the last say? As always, it'll be SANDBOX, and they'll take away Bank to take us to Chalet. To start off on defense, Spear have opted for attack. Jack, I see that little grin showing up. What's going on?
I remember, so when this team was back in T1, I think it was the very first Playday of Stage 1, they was trying also plays on Chalet, and I remember them putting one in dining kitchen, and they tucked right in the corner of the dining room and punched it, planted behind it, and then they got retaken. And it amplifies what that roster is for me. It's innovation, it's great siege, it's enjoyable siege, and then ultimately sometimes they just completely throw it away. So I think it'll be a fun map.
It will be a fun one, but I think it's going to be fairly one-sided. I just think that the SANDBOX fragging power is just going to outshine anything that they can bring to the table on Spear. So for me, I feel like it's going to be a one-sided game. SANDBOX starting defense, that might be the only good thing for Spear, because I think when it changes sides, we're going to see a train wreck.
Would Spear have the momentum then on the attack to collect a few rounds before the side?
They've simply got to. I think as Fabian says, if they don't get 4 attacking rounds, maybe even 5, once that side swap happens, it's going to be very difficult because SANDBOX will have themselves together. You think of the key power positions that you have to clear on most attacks, the Solarium stairs, the Solarium room, or if it's on the bar site, the mezzanine library areas. SANDBOX will have the processes and methodologies to just clear that. And also, with the way Spear Gaming play, they're probably likely to peak it and lose it in terms of playing those power positions. So they really need to get their attacking half on lock and then try and defend it out from there.
No more words to say than that.
Well, it's kind of perfect timing, as we're expecting this to head up in the next few seconds. So Fabian Fresh, thank you so very much. SANDBOX and Spear. SANDBOX finally want to make it back to international play. They missed out on the Charlotte Major, and so did many teams from APAC North that everybody thought would actually be there. So can Spear upset today, or will it be SANDBOX all the way? We're going to toss it to our casters. Let's take it to Chalet. A player just left. Man. And I actually set it up to go.
You wanna talk about some bloopers instead? I forgot Good Boy's name. I almost said it was Crazy Boy, but then I realized they both have Boy, and then we have Roy Boy.
This is our cards against his old team.
Yeah.
My opening.
Our lobby's ready.
Oh.
So you've been a good
I
boy,
was just about to
Fabian.
go into
My
the point.
bloopers, they were short today.
They were very short today, and let's keep it that way. There was nothing. You saw nothing today is all you need to say. Let's toss it to our casters. Happen and enjoy.
See, I was going to take it with it is the game of the boys with all the boys that are in here.
Yeah, Ray
Yeah.
Boy versus Crazy Boy.
Yeah, and
Not even Ray Boy.
good boy, good boy, first Crazy Boy, Roy Boy. They're all in here.
And also Jack's Point.
Jack's
It's
Point as well.
Argos' old team.
Yeah, for sure. So there is going to be a lot on the line here, and especially with some points that have been left behind against a certain game we've done before. Damon Kia, who managed to pick up 3 points, leaves a bit of a gap that can be jumped right into by the side of SANDBOX. And I'm more than sure of it that they'll try their best to fill that gap.
Good luck, have fun.
Yep.
Have fun, good luck, have fun. Good luck, have fun, good luck.
Or high five, that could also be the case.
High five, high five.
High five, have fun, could also be the case. That's unfortunate. And I have many different meanings, but the band's underway. The first attack to be gone by SANDBOX. Flores gone. I kind of understand it, especially if you want to go for those shields that could be hiding around the corner. You often send them in towards the piano. The Ossa, it's going to be a direct counter to what we just heard as well. The plan's coming through.
I think, it's a good removal against SANDBOX, who like to run Ossa. They like to bring her sort of talent shields and set themselves up with that. It's a methodology to their approach. It used to be played by Envy Taylor in the previous spit. They've sort of developed that with a little bit more width. Valkyrie off the board as a final lock-in as well. So I would say the Spear Gaming removals there. Outside of the mirror is pretty standard. The Ossa is a target. Everything else, this is kind of par for the course. Flores, he can be very powerful on Chalet.
Could be very powerful. What I just saw is the fuse. Have you seen the fuse trick shot on Chalet?
I have seen.
That's absolutely insane. Wondering if we get to see that.
Everyone has the SANDBOX.
I was
logo.
just going to say, all 10 people with the SANDBOX logo. Spear, of course, doesn't have their own R6 share background yet. Might still come. So instead, out of solidarity, they're going to be running the SANDBOX gaming background.
That's kind of irritating for me because on that screen, I've actually taken to using it as a quick way to tell what team is what team. Because usually at least one of the teams will have it, and usually at least a few of the players will have it as their background. Now that everybody has the SANDBOX background, that's going to confuse my small brain.
Time to download more RAM.
Which is already, I need to download more RAM. I need to get stuff set up. Talking of setup, starting in the basement, it's not the most standard approach for your start into Chalet. You'll often see teams love to extend over bedroom, maybe even get themselves a bit of a stretch on bar, which is generally NA teams like to try and lead in with that. It's a good site there. Here, the basement, it sort of finds itself as a little bit of a ringer site for a lot of teams. It has a really good success rate, but usually it finds itself as the second or the third, depending on who you're up against. As the first pick and play, well, the approach is coming in quite hot and heavy and fast, straight towards the main breach, although the Claw didn't quite get the catch. Static tried to play it above on the window, but was a little bit late, so the breach is there, but it's not just about that breach. As Tim will tell you, it's also West Mean.
trying to go for the impressions there, but yes, I mean, the breach that opens up, especially with a Thatcher on the board, it's going to be very difficult to keep that one shut. Just use 2 EMPs, there's nothing really you can do. And as you see, Robo only has 1 left, so might be able to do something on a hatch, like somewhere, but might not be successful. I was going to say, 1 person actually on the site earlier on, I believe that is 2 now. Bit of pressure is being set up around the piano side as the phone still goes off and Envy Taylor is being hunted. 2 drones are starting to come around the corner. They will know exactly where he is and pre-fires will follow shortly.
Envy Taylor going to be the first to find a little bit of engagement. Doesn't quite get anything on the cache there. They slip past, but he slips out, most importantly. The calls come through, another one, and he's able to at least escape. Tries to have an idea of maybe finding somewhere to sit and nowhere's comfortable, so drops all the way down to the basement. They do still have the reach towards the side itself. That's the main part to pull here. They're playing on the basement side. It's a steady clear across the top. They're trying to see if they can isolate some of these players, but as Mephi finds Shyle, just before he could get himself back into sight, they get an opener, and they get 1 skin for all those they try to chase above.
Still, a lot of time has been wasted by this roaming game on the side of SANDBOX, though. It's a bit unfortunate you lose Shah on the way there, but you managed to waste 2 minutes off that board, and all they really did was open up onto the snowmobile. Yes, you can try and go for a plant behind the bins, but it's very easy to take care of. It's very easy to deny, especially with smoke canisters and potential C4s and impact grenades that could just fly towards that corner. You really want to be focusing on West Main, onto the wine cellar. Start opening that one up so you can just tug in a little bit safer and go for a quick plant.
Trying to get themselves the approach here, as I said, towards the West Main side. It's going to start with the pressure onto red. This wall, generally the most important to pull itself, takes the ADS to maybe get themselves that thatch through, but they don't quite need it. The Wamaya's caught there, and there's no late claw, so it's open. There's a great throw, but looked like it just got caught out there. The Gon 6 to get rid of the shield. No, the EMP Thatcher stopped the smoke canister popping off, and now they've suddenly got 10 seconds. The smoke had to pull themselves back. They could have bought the round there, but now they're going to see if they can try and drive themselves in, tucked on the side of the barrel to get the plant down. Siora gets 1 more. They've got themselves tucked around the corner. The smoke wants to swing, but Siora has a different idea. Inside the smoke, swings around themselves. There it is on the backside. Static gets 1. But the kit is down now. They have themselves all retreated on the far side. The C4 isn't really going to catch anybody because you can watch this with some width. The hatch itself, oh, it looks like somebody's going to rotate there and see if they can get some control over the top down 2. It's just this tricky retake. Finds the leg, the loose swing onto that player, gets the down tucked in. 20 seconds though, and there's still multiple left for them to try and bite their way through. They at least have another exit for the strategy, but look at the hold. You've got 1 above here on the hatch, as I said before, and this should be them with the lockout by themselves, but the 2 others, and now ticking past that 7 seconds, mean the opening round is a Spear Gaming one.
Yeah, just not the flawless round as 2 kills eventually did go the way of SANDBOX, but a good attack coming through and quick opening towards the snowmobile. Put some pressure up upon that side. They're no longer free to play around the area. And whilst I liked the setup of SANDBOX, the heavy roam from the top floor starting to fall back as you go, it was perfectly played into by the side of Spear, finding that rotation, cutting it off before they can get back into the site safely, and finding yourself your very first entry. It allows you to play that trade game. Not that they needed it in the end, because it was a 4 versus 1 in the end, so the trading didn't really go that well for the side of SANDBOX. But they did manage to get that side overwhelmed. Flashbangs to be tossed in, the plants down as well with multiple forms of cover. And that makes SANDBOX instantly swap sides. They're going towards Bar and Gaming. Don't really want to retry. Snowmobile down below, but don't want to go up to the top floor yet either.
It was a pretty good clear there from Spear. They got themselves in with the aggression, as I said early on, and being able to at least catch 1 of the players meant the work was kind of justified. Sure, they were still able to force the players and a bit of utility out, but when you're seeing how they were sort of tuck-tailed and finding their way down, the smoke canister not quite getting a catch because of the EMP timing is one of those unlikely scenarios that neither team planned for, but it happened. And the team that were able to build success behind that was Spear Gaming, who had that little windfall of luck. And they don't always happen, but SANDBOX needs to know that that is something that, you know, the possibility of that quick clear is something that Spear Gaming are very good at.
And it's something that they'll try and continue to harp on. Actually, Static just escaping his enemy there, maybe. Will be droned out eventually, but it was in that door as soon as they did open up. It is that he went for the camera to clear it out rather than just a quick sweep with the LMG to potentially see if someone was up there. was that it could have lost its life. Now, definitely some pressure coming in from the bottom floor. You see a couple of players all around the bar. Not the bar. The snowmobile entry, some on the doors and windows as well. So they might just try and go for a bottom-up clear. It is something we've seen work, especially on bar and gaming, by NA teams. Something they really often like to do when a map just came out.
Now, there was a bit of the stretch here across with Thunderbird playing themselves that extension role there. That line means now that that is pretty much implayable. It's very tricky to get any control there over onto stock because you know your ankles are under pressure, so it frees up Spear Gaming to try and draw some focus elsewhere. The tucked-in grenade doesn't quite get anybody that's behind the chassis, but with the kid already wanting to try and get a hot foot in towards the site with no vertical control, it's a bit of a risky play. The flash is over, the Finker, and Arakaze back over across the top, finds a bit of revenge onto the old roster. Mephi moves in the smoke behind it to try and find something, but then finds the smoke in front, and Arakaze, once again, Crazy Boy tucked and rolled by Good, and Sayura in the meantime at least stems the flow, but not for very long. Static down at the bottom of Blue is able to get one more off of it, and suddenly Roy is the only boy left on the side of Spear Gaming with a minute, a lot of time. Can restructure, check drones and see if they can get something from it, but without their own in their pocket, it's just going to have to be what they can work with now, which unfortunately for them isn't very much.
It's not going to be much, no. Needs to find 4 kills to try and lock in this round. And 40 seconds left on that clock. It's basically complete opposite from what we've seen in that very first round when it was Spear Gaming that managed to overwhelm SANDBOX. It's now the other way around. So verticals to work with here. Nothing really he can eventually find through it. So it's just going to be a timeout, I believe. Just taking some time. He's not having any hurry. Opens up some verticals, but he also knows like he's not going to win the round from here on up. He's just trying to go for some exits whilst they do try and discuss if there's anything to be discussed.
Well, there it is. The bulletproof dropped, and the idea of a C4 over there gives the impression of a player just peppering bullets and hoping to get a loose catch. But Envy Taylor, well, he finishes it off. SANDBOX with a much more kind of aggressive response there. They had themselves with a bit of control over the spread of the map. They drew some of the focus, but was a bit of the cost here. Spear, I think they read an idea of an opportunity, saw where everybody was, thought we can tuck in. Arakaze had a different idea.
See, the thing is, they opened up the pantry, so they knew no one was inside a pantry. They tossed the grenade in close to the bomb chassis. They didn't get a kill, which means no one is there as well. So the only real position they can be in is either up top in the library, or they can be in the back of the bar. That was the only positions they could be in. So what they probably hope to do is get these flashbangs in, blind the person in bar, go digging deep, make sure you get that plan down, and the round could be yours. But it kind of went wrong because
The bar player
decided to, you know what, I have an SMG-11, I can swing.
I can swing.
It's just flashbangs, those won't kill me. It's
well, they do damage.
They do a little bit of damage.
I have gotten, over the many years of playing Siege, thousands of hours, 1 kill with a flash canister. In like, not that just wasn't on somebody that was like downed and thrown stuff at them to spite them.
I think we had a 1v1 clutch with the diffuser down in Benelux that was decided by a flashbang that bounced around the corner.
Yeah, it was Villa, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, I think it was Chalet as well.
Oh, was it Chalet?
Was it Villa? Okay, it was Villa.
Up Astro stairs, it was Villa.
See, I was thinking the backstairs
I know
here.
Benelux better than you do.
Sorry, it happens.
Okay, SANDBOX and Spear, 1 apiece now, and we're going to start hopefully getting into a little bit more of the stretch of this map. Static has himself in the Azami, a pretty consistent ban for a lot of teams at the minute, but she does have a point of play. It was on the previous map, not in the first, and here she is in the third. And, well, trying to find a fight underneath as Envy Taylor's trying to lock up from above. Good boy. He was that superstar pickup that came into this roster at the previous split, at the very end of it, and he's hoping to have a little bit more of a chance to grow in a game here against some of the other sort of potential up-and-comers in the region. A team that is very aggressive. You need those aggressive gunners to start to show up. A bit of a spread, a bit of a pressure, and a bit of a take there. And as I said, the young gunners are coming for him. It's the fight between the Good and the Roy. And the Roy boy is the one that stands there.
Definitely did this time around, but it's the second time someone gets called off as they try and rotate around. They really need to create themselves some safer opportunities to rotate out because they just got wallbanged, I believe, from this very angle that Roy was sitting at. So Second time around, you lose someone early on. The last time it did translate into a round for Spear, and that is something they need to stop from happening now. Go a bit more aggressive, though, as the drone comes through. Static trying to retake. Here's that now. Knows there's going to be an EMP. You can trick that. Yeah, exactly. Oh, he missed it. Okay, this is unfortunate.
Didn't quite get the connection. He had cleared the front of that, but not the back. And now these armies in a bit of a tricky situation. Builds themselves a little bit of safety. And goes for a bit of a swing pre-fire onto an angle. There is obviously not quite the growth on that because of the little bit of wood that sticks out, so they're not quite comfortable. They pull themselves further back. Hopefully just going to bait some intel. As you can see the drones rolling in, the pressure now comes through. Shire in a bit of a moment of, do I go for it? Do I go for this fight? There's the pop on a stun. That's going to go around the corner down towards the top. Royboy finds one more, an important fight for Shire, and he's able to win it out. The C4 is going to be the final connection, but there is Mephi. Very quick, very instantly. The response here from Spear.
Not going too well here for SANDBOX as yet another one falls. It's only up to Arakazi, and as they lose someone in the rotation early on, Arakazi in the meantime is being flanked. The hatch is opening up. They're knocking on the door of the trophy side of things, and as he has been spotted out, they know exactly where he is. He will find one. Gets the second one as well. He's on the way for a clutch, but there was another one above the hatch. Didn't know about that one. And with that Spear, lock in their second round.
Really well put together there by Spear. The positions that they had to try and close down on those players were in the right place. It reminds me of, well, them from about 2 splits ago, where they would do the same things on Chalet, but it would take them 2.5 minutes to do it. Their kit carrier would be outside double door waiting for a rotation as the other players pushed. Here, getting themselves set up in that position with this much pace against SANDBOX, who have sometimes been a little bit slow in terms of their reaction to things. I mean, just look at that result. The quick take back on the loss in Sophia with the C4, because they didn't even stick around. They left as soon as they could after throwing that C4 out, and they were still caught by Mephi putting the pressure on. Good Boy getting caught by Royboy through the pre-fire on the wall is one, but then you see Royboy finding the second and keeping the pressure up. The takedown on Trophy Stairs. It was just really good aggressive positioning from Spear in terms of how aggressive they were versus the clock, versus the passive they often used to be.
Yeah, and they catch off a lot of SANDBOX players whilst they're moving, and that is what is annoying me the most personally right now. It's the second round in a row where we see someone trying to rotate back to the side be caught off because they just rotate. They didn't take into attention that their rotates have been caught off at that moment in time. It's the second time it happens, and they just get stuck as a result. So something I really would like to see changed as it continue to go on. What I think will happen here, though, is going to be a quick plant. With the Monty going for a reverse, the smoke canisters to come out as well as soon as they do open up the snowmobile side of things. And then we have the glass just covering over the shoulder. I can almost guarantee it's going to happen. 4 people stacked up for it.
There is quite a lot ready.
Mess going to go in through the back probably. Just try and go for the distraction there.
Well, that before it was caught and recollected. The wall's going to get open. They're going to realign those towards the back and see if they can try and get an idea. The camera gets caught out. And there's a bit of sound that might be made by Mephi, but at the same time it's a Nook, so it's down to the decision of do we want to be sneaky and try and get an early pick, or do we want to try and draw some focus and attention onto the plant, because here it goes. The spray over the top, a little bit of a jiggle, the smokes go down, and Roy goes a little bit deeper. There's the plant going behind it and the cover of the glass. There's more EMPs, there's a handful of absolutely everything. It's dropped, it's covered on the smoke, they're going for the catch. There's some heavy play, there's a loose run, and there is a post plant, and there is a hefty amount of bullets traded either side. Roy Boy is still stuck in there though, he hasn't moved. Good Boy's found himself in a tricky situation here, and suddenly it's just 2 SANDBOX players left in a post-plant situation. They're being droned out, and Spear Gaming, like their namesake, drove in towards that plant, had the cover, had everything locked in, and once again, I talked about it a little bit at the start of this round, SANDBOX, they weren't quite sharp enough to have that reaction here. They're just holding off. You can see the Nook is up top. They're ready and waiting to do whatever they need to do at this point. They can't get the kit. They're going to have to lock it, but it's too late. It's sprayed. It's missed opportunities, and it's 2 players with nothing they can do against the plant down here once again.
I like the MPs they used in the middle of that execute. The smoke canisters were going down from the attack themselves. It was being replied to by smoke canisters from the smoke, but what the EMP does is it disables any electronic that is within the range. So it might have gotten one of those smoke canisters. I don't know if they actually disabled the C4 before they shot it, but that could have been the case as well. That is how you protect yourself in those kind of situations, because you cannot just shoot out every single gadget that is being tossed at you. An EMP would be getting that. So good use of the EMP there as soon as they did decide to go for the execute and a post line came through. And as we head back towards the bar, and gaming now is the only site that SANDBOX have been able to win so far. But that was possibly due to the idea that they could go quick on the side of Spear whilst they really didn't have the control yet.
Gotta give credit here to Spear Gaming. They've massively shown up, and Chalet is a good map for attackers, but you have to make it work. You have to be able to bring it here, and what they're exploiting is, again, that sort of slower response time from SANDBOX.
Yep.
Spear have made sure that they've dictated the pace. They have to have a good control on it. Finding themselves 4 rounds here is the standard for their attack, but it's the method that they can keep this momentum going into their favor, because you're seeing SANDBOX just struggling to have those reaction times. You get that energy going into your defense, and you can try and keep some of that control. I mean, suddenly the distance of beating a team that should be fighting for one of the top 2 spots isn't so impossible.
Yeah, suddenly SANDBOX might start to worry as well, because they know how important this game is. You really need to be taking the 3 points home against teams that are generally lower than you on those standings. When you need to end in that top 2 spot, you can afford to lose against 1, maybe 2 teams in a stage. You do not want to lose now. Playday 3 out of 7 against a team you should be winning against. So Spear really doing some good work here.
Here, once again, the multi-setup. They've got the player over onto the top of the window around the display cabinets on the far side. They have the double window. They have the cover. They're trying to force out this power position. You've got Envy Taylor. Has a bit of a stretch down in towards Kitchen where he played before, but it's a different approach. And last time the approach here was only a failure for Spear Gaming. Their only failure so far. So instead of focusing themselves on attempting a quick plant, they're instead going for the pressure they can put here. Swung around and caught out. Good boy. Able to get Mephi and finds an opener for the first time for SANDBOX in a while. Zero, in the meantime, a very scrappy fight that he can't quite win out there. It's good boy, but NL and NL doubles it down. Gets very important revenge here. Takes the 2 players that have found themselves rotating in, suddenly cleared up a bit of a power position, and Crazy Boy stacked in on the far side. They took the territory, but it came at a little bit of a cost here.
Yeah, for sure. Lost 2 of those LMGs. The opportunity to heal yourselves as well, but the top floor is now under control. Next stage will be to get rid of the pantry player, and after that, make sure you cover off that bar properly. C4 is being tossed off, but nothing is really connecting so far, and as NL, once they go in for a plant, you really cannot do that yet as long as that player is still inside of the pantry here, so Arakazi needs to be dispatched, and as he makes his presence known, they know to put some attention towards him.
That's it. Arakazi was the man of the moment last time they went for this, and now he's not going to be the first that they meet, but he's still a force that they'll meet, and with just under a minute left, they have the time to try and evaluate how they want to tackle this problem. They don't have the ability to burn themselves the hole through last time, so instead a threaded grenade is the attempt on a catch. Nobody's home. He's able to play the smokes with a bit of distance, but that's 2 down. Only 1 left. Only another about 15 seconds that he can delay for, which can give them a proverbial 20 to 15 of their own to try and make this stick. The flashes come around the corner. Another grenade is going to pop off around the back of it. It's cooked a little bit longer. There's no clarity, but he still finds the kill. Swung around to the double window. The canister's going to see if it can force the fight on another side. They're tucked down, rocked, and ready to roll, but not quite caught out. Crazy Boy has a little bit of oxygen to breathe and hope he can catch 1 more kill. Nobody's drifting close enough, and at this point, it's just going to have to be a watch of a plant down from the other boy on the second story there. Arakaze, does he know that it's going down? He just sees the side of it, but Crazy Boy, he's able to actually find a stick. He lies back down. He loses a lot of health on the spray, but it's a trade-off. A 2 versus 1. Roy Boy's all that's left on the second story. He's in the best possible place for this, and after the heroics of 1, it's going to come down to the heroics of the other boy to see if he can thread this last 2 round, a double rotate. It's the clever move, it's the smart move, and it's the right move. Roy Boy's got himself tucked in into a similar position. The pings are coming through. He's aware of the players trying to make their route round. The longer he can survive, the more of a threat he becomes here, because he can still take the drop and try and take the fight directly onto anyone who goes for the defuse itself. They've got to find Roy, and they've got to do it in about 5 seconds before they go and find this kit itself. Arakaze hits 1, hits 2. The cover's coming through. There's the watch from above. There's Roy Boy clutching the round out. And there is a play of the week.
He doesn't even need to take the second gunfight there. He realizes, I've won it. That's it. I'm just going to stay put here. I'm not even going to give you the opportunity to kill me afterwards. And you see Crazy Boy is super happy about that one. It's 4-1. Spear really walking away with it here. And somehow they managed to get that plan down. First of all, they had the right ideas. They tried to go for those grenades. The grenade actually forced Arakazi to go aggressive, find a kill, which could have completely tossed that round away for them, because that grenade was supposed to get the kill onto the pantry blade, not lose one due to it. and then just digging in deep. The SMG-11, I mean, he couldn't see it. It was perfectly played out, perfectly positioned, so nothing stuck out. And with that, they find themselves with another win. And this is exactly what he's talking about. The grenade, he needed to move. Yes, he takes some damage, but he finds the diffuser way more valuable than him losing his life to some extent. So he did the right thing there, Arakazi.
And, you know, Roy Boy did everything that was the right thing.
He did.
Obviously had the cover on the plant. Crazy Boy sticking that with the trust of, you got to make it work. Roy Boy had it. And then the way he moved out to the side. As I said, at that point, he had the option. All he had to do was get to the timer, and he played it perfectly. He didn't try and take the engagements upstairs. He tucked himself on the window. I mean, SANDBOX knew that he could take the dropout, and they knew he could watch from above. They took a gamble and a risk. It didn't pay off.
Spear made them gamble. Royboy decided to jump out rather than stay up because he knew a retake needed to happen. Gets outside. They didn't bother checking the balcony because you're not going to live through that. So, well played. And as we head into that next round, Royboy bringing Sense out. It's going to be interesting to see how they will be used and how the light screen is going to be affecting this round.
It's been a bit sticky here for SANDBOX so far. As I said, 4-2 isn't the most egregious result on your defense on this, on Chalet, which is a very aggressive map, but you know, they still haven't been able to take their time out. They're going to save it for now. They find themselves on 5-1 deficit. They might need it because there's only one lifeline between them and this match slipping away from them in a very vital fight towards the top. Mephi, once again, wasting no time. Getting themselves stuck in, dug out, and taking out utility here. Granted, it's on the far side of the map in comparison to where the side is itself, but it's forced a massive rotate here from SANDBOX. They had themselves in these positions. Now they don't.
These rotates, again, they're just so mobile, but it cost them 2 of their rounds, so they need to make sure to not overdo it as they currently go. And I think Static setting up these Kiba barriers to allow themselves to challenge up towards the office just a little bit safer might be the right call. You do not want to go up much further than that. It's the first light screen used to cover off the breach there. It's actually going to be destroying most of it.
Well, the Cell was able to do its job. They're just using that utility with the cover that it can. We're going to see that grow. It's, for some people's money, the smartest gadget that we've had in Siege in a very long time, and how Sense is going to grow into the meta is that point of curiosity for everybody. Here now, once you've got box control, it's the idea of trying to get the pressure onto this. The plant behind the dining table is, for a lot of people, the standard. You have some of the cover from the chassis. You have some of that kind of safety that you can hide behind. The bullets can't quite pass through. But there's still players to get through, and Mephi's going to start that work. Finds Static, finds a little bit of control. Arakaze, he's raiding himself a bit closer. The Lion is able to ping off and see if they can get a little bit more limitations on these aggressive rotates. Good boy and Shile. They're going to see if they can get a bit of a retake here. They're swinging wide. They go wide, and Mephi goes for one more, goes in with the pistols to see if he can lock out one more connection. It's faster to swap to your pistol, and he can't quite get it, but there it is! Mephi with a triple over the top floor. The Hats, they went for a retake through their bodies, and Sense rolls the green screen out across the board. There it is. The cover from a Glaz. They're watching Elysian do nothing against it, but they don't need it to. Envy Taylor pops up, gets the plant. Look at the timer. Suddenly Envy Taylor, out of the ghost of nowhere, is able to pull this round back. Arakaze with a double, and it seemed like it was Spears, but SANDBOX just cling on.
The lack of oversight there. I mean, the Glass basically tunnel vision onto West Main, saw the Legion toss out a goo mine and was like, I'm gonna get this person as soon as he peeks again. It allowed Envy Taylor to sneak around, stop the defuse from happening, get prone into that corner, take out another kill before dropping and securing that round as they go. And somehow SANDBOX is gonna be able to get their second round, which shouldn't have been there. Spear should have been 5-1 up. These mistakes, they happen. Of course they do. But they could be very costly. Especially if you remember how Spear was doing last year. They got close so many times, but never were quite able to lock it off. These are the kind of rounds you need to lock off. You have Mephi up on the top floor, taking a triple kill. 2 with a pistol. And you're just not able to lock it off in the end, unfortunately, there. So that is something you can work on, but it might cost you dearly now.
4-2 SANDBOX, but really only just. And that is that sort of moment now. You've got to try and take Wow, you got to try and take something early here. As I said, it's not always the result, but the method you get there. It's not the destination, but it's the journey. And it's been fraught with peril so far. They have themselves stacked up with some of the similar operators across the board. The Aruni is obviously the chance at the pickup here. Wow, how far away can you use that?
Yeah, Amaru.
Yeah, not Aruni.
I was gonna say,
There's too
it's
many A operators.
Yeah.
Zami, Aruni, Amaru. And we cast...
There's no way he's going in, by
Our
the way.
day starts at 7 in the morning.
It does. It does start quite early.
No, that's an excuse for a 5-year veteran, 6-year veteran of casting the game.
Amaru's been in for a while as well, but
Yeah.
it's a lot of people actually confuse her with Aruni. It's
just the names. It's similar
It's
sounding
especially
names.
those two.
Aruni and Azami. 5 letters, ends in I, starts with A.
Yeah.
Same sort of phonetics. Okay, enough about language. Let's have a bit of Siege.
I was going to say, there's no way that Amaru is just going to be yeeting herself into the building there, and indeed did not. Decided to stay out. Afraid for a second that Emmy Taylor actually would have gone for it. But it might still come, especially as soon as the fight is coming out around the piano side, as soon as they do decide to open up that wall towards the half wall so they can try and go for a plan. That is maybe when we see a bit of extra pace coming out to form as a distraction, but also potentially find some kills.
Well, the break here over the top. You can still see some ability coming across from the side of Spear. They have themselves active underneath and around, and that's one of the problems that has to be solved here. Envy Taylor, they're still hanging around, waiting about for the chance of something, but whether they want to put the pressure onto that window, onto the hatch, or maybe somewhere slightly different, that's what they're droning out and checking, seeing if anybody is underneath. Crazy Boy's the man at the moment that's gone for the big rotate here onto box. That's open. And if it's unwatched, this could be a moment where he sees if he could potentially go for a hop out. He's hoping, he's waiting, he's angling, he's checking for claymores. There's none present. When's the call? When's the movement? When's the rush? When's the players? Where's the roll? Sends. Well, that one didn't work.
That one didn't work either.
That one worked, and that might bounce its way across.
No, haven't. All three basically wasted there as Goodboy gets the very first kill. They need to push on, but there comes Envy Taylor from the back.
Well, he loses the first fight there. Crazy Boy pulls off a C4 onto Static as well. The grenades roll through. It was a plan, but the plan in motion wasn't quite in motion. They bounced the sends walls out the wrong side. The pings come through, is able to catch a player, but you're looking at the timer, 15 seconds. A 2 versus 3. We've seen clutches against them before. Can they try and pull it together here? They still have the shield. They still have some cover. And the Glaz, oh, they've been able to slip on by. They've got themselves a massive chance here. Roy, they're going to have to get aggro. Swings around. Crazy wins his. Roy loses his, and Good is the one that locks it out there. It's just Crazy left. He's looking for the spring on the last player, but in the Good, the Roy, and the Crazy, Good Boy wins.
For a second there, I was sure that wasn't be going their way, especially when all the light screens just... Yeah, we don't talk about them. They didn't really do much. Let's put it like that.
That's not how you use that gadget.
No, you want to roll it across the lines aside, not in your own doorway and have it bounce back 3 times. it's unfortunate. But hey, it happens. They try to go for the thing. They eventually still won the round, so it didn't hurt too badly, but it could have been way more secure.
Amaru, Azami, Aruni,
Alibi as well, but
doesn't
for some reason, yeah.
because it's a different feeling when you say it.
Alibi's been in for like
Alibi,
the longest as well.
Aruni, Azami, Amaru. But Alibi.
The I in the end is
I'm just excusing for how dumb I am. Listen, okay, I had a tooth pulled yesterday.
Yeah, I'm surprised
I didn't have it
you're
pulled, I
even-
had it drilled, and it sucked.
Does it still
It was
hurt?
the worst. It hurts a bit. I'm on some painkillers.
Yes.
But it doesn't hurt anywhere near as bad as it did before I had it done. So that's the
It's
most
magical how that works.
That's the most important part. It was so bad during it.
And now you feel relieved you've won.
To have a French dentist
Drill your
say,
teeth.
lift your hand if this hurts. And I lifted my hand at one point when it really hurt. And he said, yeah, this bit will hurt.
Oh.
and he
Well,
put
thank
my
you.
hand down.
That is no point putting your hand up now. This, you're beyond saving.
It was a fun hour of my life. But I'm back now. And I'm back here to watch SANDBOX bite around back, find themselves taking the first. I said it was going to be an important one because you have to strike early. You have to try and keep the pace here because Spear Gaming dictated it. It was close, and plan A, I'm going to go on paper as saying it didn't work out when we saw Sense not quite get those rolls into the room, and we saw the cover of the glass not quite get the connection, and the C4 started. But, well, we've got a second attempt at a plan A here.
We do. Some Twitch drone taking out, a bunch of utility out there means it's going to be a little bit less safe to play there, and a grenade could potentially come around the corner. Quick check together with a smoke canister there. Double C4 kill from NL though. It's going to be definitely helping, and a team kill with a grenade. We've seen one of those during EU as well. It's a bit unfortunate, but he will find a response at least at that moment.
I was about to say Good Boy responds with a grenade, but then you follow and you keep reading and you see that it was on a teammate. At least they've dug back in, found 2, but still MV Taylor now has 3 bodies to try and find a way through, lost in the chaos. And unfortunately for them, Good Boy was the one to blame here.
Ooh, has it outdated ping there? Does he know? I think they do know, but he made some noise now. Oh, no, didn't make some noise. Crazy Boy unaware. Brings it back to a 2-on-1 situation now. Just an L and Mephi left. There is a little bit of utility onto Mephi. 2 Kiba barriers. There was 2 impact nades to use. We just saw how effective they were onto those library stairs. So if you have to go and fight down as MV Taylor, you're not going to be looking forward to it.
Well, he's got himself background. He knows he was revealed on the camera because it was active when he shut it out. He's just trying to find the position of the 2 remaining players. That'll give some of the game away, and so will that. They know that corridor's being watched, and it makes sense. The last one is on the pantry line, holding a very tight angle. As soon as you try and slip your way in, well, that's the danger, and that's always the back line. But look at the rotation now that's come through from Mephi, I believe, on the second story. They're tucked in. Now they have some control over the second story. MV Taylor might be able to isolate another fight here. Do they know? Seemingly not. They're looking right. They're looking left. They win it out! And they really shouldn't have, but look at the timer. Now just has to find the last fight. It's going to sort of fob off the kit, go for it. They're on pantry. They just missed the first. They find the second! MV Taylor should be dead twice over. But what isn't?
MV Taylor with a huge clutch coming through, and he's going to call for tactical time. And he's like, they might need to talk, so we'll give it to them after that one, because he managed to bring it back. Mephi, like, you should have really hit those shots.
Uncharacteristic.
Yeah, I wanted to say, but I'm too baffled by by the whiff we've seen there. That should have been a kill.
Both of them.
Both of them should
be. The pantry, it was a quicker reaction than I think the fight up top, but...
Yes, but I mean, the pantry run I understand more, because you will expect someone to be in pantry. Both are watching each other. It could be that, you know, it's an SMG-11. You might be missing your first couple of shots. You try and go for the re-peek. But Mephi had someone that had his back towards him and wasn't able to connect the shots.
It somehow distracts from the grenade team kill.
Yeah, we had that as well. We had a double C4, then we had a grenade team kill.
We really had the best and the worst of seeing.
We had a bunch of whiffs, and MV Taylor go for a triple kill. Clutch.
Yeah.
Okay. Top play of the week. Let me write that down for a second.
It's good that we're starting to fill the top 5 from this game.
It definitely is.
And also for Fabian's blooper reel, we're probably filling that as well.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Fabian.
Yeah, I know.
That's a blooper reel. Hey, Sen.
All right.
You going to stick around this time? Are we going to see their gadget used a little bit more effectively? Kind of hope so.
Look at this. Look at this.
That should be dead.
How? I don't get it. Fell down the hatch as well. Tried to go down the hatch. But
this decision as well, to go for the next fight.
Yeah, he had no time. He needed to go for a fight. Knew that the drop came through. Expected a pickup maybe to come in. And then spots out the player. And
look at his health.
It's one shot. And he just missed because he stopped walking. It was so close. The bullets whizzed by his head. But non-connected. And 4-4 is the current score. And you know what I said during round 6?
What did you say during round 6?
Look at Spear and how they always got so close over the last year, but never quite were able to finally connect those last dots.
Yeah.
And that one round that they have lost. That was a 4v2 at that point. Just not missing, or missing MV Taylor sneaking around. Could be detrimental at the end. And again, MV Taylor here with a huge round. He's single-handedly keeping SANDBOX Gaming into this game.
Okay, it was a couple of rounds before SANDBOX were able to put some damage back into Spear, so Spear do obviously still have more than an opportunity to try and find it. We've talked about how this map is one that plays into the favor of attackers, and you'll always have that awareness. You just have to try and throw a couple more together. Here, SANDBOX, although they're finding success, it is scrappy. It's not that same control that they love to sort of play with against a team that, as we said, now it's just the two top spots. It's a very important game. This is arguably against one of those teams that isn't going to be rightfully fighting for one of those two positions coming towards the end of Berlin, or when we're deciding who's going to be going, so it has to be now. Mephi finds one, gets a bit of an early pick once again. He's been leading into this game. Just misses the barrel of the gun that pops around. Shyle gets the hot ping, but he doesn't want to swing for it. Crazy Boy has different ideas. Gets the pop off, get it locked in, holds for a second, and reloads the grenade. It's going to bounce around to that hot ping. There's the catch, there's the reveal. Arakaze is able to bite back and at least get one more, but they threw a lot in through that main entrance, and now they've suffered a lot. Static bites back, though, finds an L.
3 on 3. Still kind of confused how Shal didn't see the shotgun just swinging around the corner there earlier. Eventually led to his death. Could have been a 4-2-3 as we speak. But with that, the back of the kitchen, the trophy side completely opened up. Sayaro, though, is going to be up top, has to drop with some grenades dropping through. Actually created a bit of verticality they could use to stop a plant from happening, but as they've all fallen back towards a horizontal level, SANDBOX Gaming, they can use this verticality to their advantage if they want to. 50 seconds left. There's not a lot of time, but it should be enough to open up everything that they want to. They're a bit slow on the entry here. Afraid that someone might be watching it through the wall on the left. Possibly. I'm not quite sure what they're trying to go for here. Is it a full rotate coming around?
I think that's...
Are they going for West Main?
It's maybe the conversation. Obviously, you're looking at what is taken out of them, but you're also looking at what they don't have in pockets, which is hard breach. The push they have to do is one here, and
that's a smart one.
Yeah, there it is. Rolls himself, gets the bounce. The grenade is going to find its way to the back of the room, and the hot pings finds the second. Arakaze is 2 for 2 on grenades, looks for a third fight over the door, and this gun can go probably a little bit longer than others. Finds the next. There it is, a triple for the player. They're able to tuck in and get the kit, but Arakaze gets it looped round, and there's a little bit more SANDBOX control, but it didn't start that way. It took Arakaze with a big play to bite back in with a 4K.
I just want to say there, we saw Arakaze 4K, very good, well done by him, but I really like the sense usage there. They tossed it through that double drone hole. They managed to actually lock off West Main, which allowed them to get in, get aggressive, get those kills down on the board. And that is something I would like to highlight over if we do get a hand on those replay files, just to see how exactly it was tossed up, because it was perfectly covering off that West Main door without having to toss it in through West Main. So you didn't block any of your own vision, just all of theirs. And that brings us at SANDBOX, currently in that lead, a 4v5. Again, a double entry from Spear before SANDBOX was even able to find a kill themselves, but it didn't actually stop them in the end. Arakaze with that 4K, decisive. But they cannot keep relying on that. They need to make sure that they're all showing up to the party here. Make sure they're all picking up these kills. And again, we're seeing Sense being brought out instead of a Thermite.
I mean, it's an option. Obviously,
for the side, it's okay, but
let's see what they've got in terms of pockets. We do have 2 hard breach charges in the pocket of the Sense, so
yeah,
they'll potentially use those in exactly what we see being reinforced right now. One on Snowmobile to get you that entrance. The other one, usually on this sort of site, you might sit on hatch. You don't really have any walls that you need to take direct control over in that manner, unless you're playing a Hibana and you're putting the pressure or a ace down towards pantry, but obviously not in the approach.
Now, there's plenty of explosives on the side of Spear to get rid of that light screen. We see 4 impact grenades, we see a single C4, but of course that C4 will preferably be used to get rid of a player hunting rather than a light screen.
A really good drone hole to get a good sense wall to block off pantry here.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. You could just roll it through and there's nothing they can see from there on. Exactly. But there's a Mew jammer, so they need to get rid of that one first. So I think they'll use a grenade to get rid of it, and after that they can just block it off and go in right behind the bomb chassis even. Oh no, it's behind the bomb chassis itself.
Very cleverly tucked in there, just behind the mute jammer. The chassis protects it from the grenade itself. They're going to have to try and drone it a bit wider, get the ping, and well, maybe even go for some vertical control before they can actually remove it from this. There's the roll on the Sense, and Well, it will still be able to pop off and roll. It doesn't stop it rolling, but it stops it making those walls. Shyle finds Siora, and Shyle finds one more. NL at least stopped a little bit with the first spray over the top, as we saw before, but very quickly, SANDBOX were able to keep that momentum into their favor and move behind the rest of the push. The worry is, can they now try and get control of where they want to put that kit down? They're still stacked up in a position. They're still trying to get the roam and the catch on the rotations, one around the bottom of blue and one around the bottom of the snowmobile stairs too. And you can see that Snowmo, they've decided we're not going that way. We've got to try and find another route to the site. Heavy Taylor has a different idea. Watched it, had the catch. Mephi almost catches them back, but they pull themselves out of that position. And I'm going to compliment the way that they were just watching for that rotate, Heavy Taylor there.
Minute left on that clock. Mephi trying to rotate back and around, hoping to... It's a bit of an odd Azami Berry, not quite deploying fully there, but he's being spotted out again, and with 50 seconds left on the clock, and Mephi still being on these back stairs. He's being hunted by 2 different players without him even knowing it. 3 possibly even. He gets the very first, but he's the last man standing. He will be taken out, and SANDBOX take their 6th round. But Emmy, I want to quickly go back towards the light screen.
Throw us back.
We were talking about the Mew Gemmer, and I was as well, like, that is not going to roll any further. But then I realized what they said upon the operator reveal phase.
Oh, I knew it was going
to
roll.
It's mechanical, exactly. It's just that first light screen that doesn't pop, but afterwards it still gets it. So if you angle it right, you still might get everything light screened off as you may to go for a plan. Unfortunately, not really the case. It was a tiny gap.
Well, the tiny gap was the Mew Jammer, and the tiny gap there was cost
exactly. A kill, the entry kill as well of that round. So, again though, Spear wasn't able to convert the entry kill. Happened 4 times so far out of their 6, 7 entry kills they've had. So, they really need to be working on that. They keep on getting these openings, sometimes even 2 or 3, but somehow SANDBOX just has that clutch potential. And with the clutch potential, I kind of mean Envy Taylor finding 2 clutches and Arakazi running in with a quad kill. That managed to lend them some of these rounds, these important rounds. But where we thought that Spirit Gaming was very, very easily in control of this matchup, we see SANDBOX now with 2 match points. It's not looking too good for Spear here.
Well, that's it. That's the sort of tricky situation for Spear. And obviously the tag timeout that was taken was SANDBOX's. I know at first we jumped into the Spear cam, but it was Envy Taylor that typed it. And here, Spear Gaming, I think technically still have theirs. I don't remember them using it.
They used it, right? No, I don't know anymore.
It was the SANDBOX one.
Yeah, the SANDBOX used one for sure. I just can't remember whether or not they did. Quick opening mate, though. Trying to put up some pressure up onto the snowmobile. They're not actually pushing from that direction this time. No sense on the board either. It works and it doesn't work. It really, like, they try at least to use sense. It's just that they might need a bit more practice to properly use it everywhere. We've seen quite a bit of mess-ups here and there.
Well, talking of messing things up, Arakazi has messed up his ex-teammates here. Really led into this fight and made sure that, to be honest, one of the rounds was SANDBOX's, which could have been Spear Gaming's, and since then it's just kept the pressure up here, which is something that they needed after what wasn't the best opener in terms of their defense, in terms of the control here, and to be honest, wasn't the best opener in terms of their attack. But these last couple of rounds, after their tech timeout, they've started to find their pace a little bit more. Here, the pinch on those players, the pings round on the backside, they're waiting just for somebody to pop a head up. They keep themselves crouched. They know the angles that they've set up. They know where they're safe. And for now, it's staying low, keeping the head down and making sure it doesn't get taken off by Good Boy, who sits and he waits.
Yeah, don't move, just stay crouched. That's all he has to do, and he's safe behind that half wall. Good Boy, of course, wants to go for a bit of a hunt, so I think he's going to go for a bit of a more direct route now, just walking in, but there's 2 players. He gets the wall back of one, but it's Envy Taylor that comes in from the back and actually sweeps up both.
Perfectly timed there. The pinch was SANDBOX's. Envy Taylor made some moves here into Fireplace on the opposite side, saw the side opening, and then it took just a little bit of the distraction and all the rolls of the drones and the play of the think of the first start of that LMG word some attention, and Envy Taylor proved them it was the wrong place to look. Now, Spear Gaming, 3 players left to see if you can try and cinch out and lock it in. Mephi's toying with the idea of opening up an angle here above. They have the C4, they have his own drone. He's going to see if he can get a catch on a player. There's a ping, there's a hold, and, well, there's a reveal on a Finker. Where's the angle? There's the ping coming in from someone else, and they're on a drone. Can't quite get it from that lock round. 30 seconds. He's got to take a slightly longer route through. There it is. There's the reveal. There's the player. There's the catch. There's the spray. He doesn't know. He's missing. He's still on the drone. Good Boy finally gets caught out by Crazy Boy, who's read the intel and actually struck it at the right time there. Swung around, 20 seconds now, and, well, Spear Gaming, they're still holding onto the site itself. They've done some work to cause problems elsewhere. The positioning of Crazy Boy means that they don't have any of that safety. The control of the hatch as well. Well, that was always going to happen. There it is. MV Taylor gets one more for the road, but look at the timer. They're mad dashing themselves in to see if they can get the kit down. Static on the plant. The C4 dropped close. Arakaze is all that's left stood up, but it's Crazy Boy.
I've no clue what's happening here. I mean, first of all, that ping, beautiful. I don't know where Crazy Boy suddenly came up from. He decided, I believe, to run up West Main and get that kill and secure themselves the verticality again that they lost earlier on. As MV Taylor managed to sweep them up with a double entry. And after that, I was like, it could be over now. This could be it. That double entry, 3 players left onto the site. Actually, 2 and Mephi up above. That could be the end of it. Mephi just missing all the shots from above. I mean, luckily so, probably, because otherwise, I think it would have been off the actual drone. Could have shot Crazy Boy there. And it would have been only 1 person left onto the side. So, you know, a bit of luck with the bad luck they've had there. But we're back into 5-6. We're up onto yet another match point, but Spear could be coming a bit closer here on taking some points away as well.
Oh, well, SANDBOX, a little bit of a slip up there. Obviously, seemingly blessed for a while to avoid those, and then Good Boy with the sort of catch of here's a breath of fresh air, and then Crazy Boy said, no, here's a breath of Crazy Boy. Struck, took the verticality, how important that hatch is, as demonstrated there by Crazy Boy, and why it becomes such a big thing you got to keep a watch over. If they didn't have that hatch, they would have likely had a loss there and would have lost the game.
I'm wondering though, like, why did no one pay attention to the hatch, especially after Crazy Boy ran up there, killed Yufinka? It didn't see him come down yet. You know someone is still up above. You see someone running in, not even trying to watch the hatch. Then they don't watch the hatch either as soon as they try and go for a plant. It's a bit odd. Yeah, get it this time around. There's no sense though, so they're not going to be able to use the light screen, but definitely got rid of that mute jammer. Might help later on.
Wow, there's a drone set up and locked in inside the site to give them some eyes on the prize in the sky. Here, though, SANDBOX is still just 1 round away from cinching this out and getting the full 3 points and finding yourself in 2nd place in a good stead as the distances start to break a little bit. But you drop anything from this map, whether it's, well, at this point, 1 or 2, you'll find yourself still struggling here as the race to 2nd is still pretty intense. About a handful of half of the Playdays left. The pressure over the top of the site itself, opening it up and giving themselves some wiggle room, dropping anything that might be tucked under that window. The pings on that play around on the back side, but NL's always going to be in this position. And they were able to find the first last time around.
Having nitros rather than smoke canisters to try and deny that plant from happening. You can only toss 1 and then you're empty, so they need to make sure that they count. Mephi still alive as well, near the library stairs. Also has a nitro cell he could use to stop any of these plants from happening, but needs to rotate a little bit more than the player inside of the pantry. MV Taylor has been spotted out though, has absolutely no clue and will be taken out as the entry of this round.
Perfectly timed there from Crazy Boy. Lennon, just as the E1D was starting to go off, they felt a little bit of safety and he punished them for it. The spray is coming around and he knows he doesn't have to swing into this. He's done the damage and they haven't been able to get him back in. The pings are still coming through at this point, but you saw what was attempted as the start of a SANDBOX approach, and it entirely fell out from behind them. Now, a second one goes off, and there's still no result, still no catch. Siora is holding on above. This was where the start of the pressure came last time round, and there's at least some revenge for the killing before. Static finds Crazy Boy, the swing and the pressure onto the door. But without the top rafters control, you still can't really get an entrance here, and that's the really awkward position. They find themselves in 30 seconds. Static's rotated the kit round towards the double window to get ready for a hop-in. They've entirely rotated. They're putting pressure inside the site. They're just going for the aggressive retake, and it's a swing round. There's Good Boy getting it down. The kit's gone cold, and now it's going to be picked up and planted. The C4 doesn't get the catch. The spray over the top, and it's a double here for Good Boy. 20 seconds left. It's the 3 versus 1. Roy Boy all that's left. They saw that the site was a little bit of a weakness from the other side and just took it. There it is. SANDBOX. A clever rotation, a new idea, and 3 points.
A bit of a gamble there. They needed to do something. There was not much time left. They realized One person in the pantry. If we have the library under control, all we need to do is rush him out of there as quickly as he possibly can. He's sending the planter as a bit of a distraction. He might die, but that's a risk that they're willing to take. As long as you get the trade into pantry, you might be able to find it in the end. And with that, 3 points onto the board of SANDBOX, and they will find themselves in the second place of the league, which means currently in a spot towards the Berlin Major, but a lot can still change in these next 4 play days.
We have time, and time is that proverbial killer of all hopes and dreams. So, on that upbeat note, we'll throw it to a quick break before we're back with the desk.